All right, so Redman and Black Thought have thrived where many legacy acts, I would say, haven't. There was a recent Rolling Stones discussion that came out actually today. There's like a musician to musician series. I don't know if you've seen that, where they're just kind of sitting talking to each other. And they talked about the challenges in the music landscape as they've gotten older throughout the years. You know, as somebody such as myself who has studied and engaged in releasing both music and content, you know, teach the stuff as well. You know, the idea of monetization in arts, or the actual art versus the brand attached to it is a constant, regular conversation that even we have, you know, and that all musicians kind of have to continually talk about. But with streaming kind of being under constant scrutiny, you know, and the push for community and connectiveness, it seems like we're leaning on one side more than the other right now being important. Let's watch this video from Black Thought, this short little clip, and then I'll ask you guys a couple questions about it. So,
how do you feel about just giving the music away and then, you know, building your brand on the residual effect of that? You know what I'm saying?
The streaming left you kind of with no choice but to play along. There are a couple of platforms that you can just direct your music to buy. Mm-hmm. But are you willing to take that choice, that chance? Feel me? Like with this album, Muddy Waters 2, like Muddy Waters 2 got like close to 70 million streams. And that's good for an OG artist like me, right? Yep. But the money that comes with the streams is horrible. Do I bank on trying to get the money or just bank on the awareness of it being spreaded through Spotify, through iTunes?
In a Roots capacity, we've always banked on the awareness. We would record a record because that would support us being on tour. We never put out an album with the intention of, oh, this is gonna go double, triple, platinum, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just weren't that sort of act. You know, we weren't doing those numbers. And so, yeah, I think there's something in sort of, you know, just doing music to sustain your career as a road warrior.
Right.
You know, which is, and you talk about that balance, that's what, you know, we definitely struck that balance.
Right.
What difference do we notice in a Redman and a Black Thought and the Roots versus other acts that may have not been, you know, as successful with having a long evolving music career?
For one, the Roots are on Jimmy Fallon.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a huge cheat code for them. Now, granted, what he's talking about is the type of artist
but even with that being said, like that was a choice that they made.
Right, exactly.
Right? So,
but like talking about the type of artist that they were, and I can attest to this because I've been to at least 3 Root shows. They've never been the artist that cares about being on the radio. It's more so we gonna do us, and if you rock with us, come see us, and you gonna get you know what I'm saying? The show is gonna be dope.
In our radio days.
Yeah. But Redman too. Redman kind of, I feel like Redman kind of touched a little bit like the height of a rap career at one point in time.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
He also talked in this about how him and Meth hit a high point and how high.
Yeah.
But was able to still bounce back as independent hip hop artists and have a career.
They was doing movies and stuff like that, and had endorsements.
I can quote that movie, like
yeah. But yeah, you have 2 different artists that were never. I kind of feel like the rap game had tiers at one point in time. You had like the Jay-Z's, the Nellies, and the Eminems, and then you had like people right up under them. And then you had another tier that I would probably put the Roots on the 3rd tier. But they made up for it with their musicality.
Sure.
Meth and Red was on that second tier.
Yeah, Meth and Red was on that second tier. And they continue to pretty much tour and make music that was true to themselves, like conversation we just had.
And you're talking about popularity essentially, right?
Popularity, yeah. And we're still able to do what they wanted to do. Whereas Redman, him talking about the streaming situation, the key now is like put out something to feed people, but you have to tour with it. Mm-hmm. If you're not touring with it, it's not going to reap the same fruits of that labor that you might have got at one point in time, depending, like, especially based off the type of artist that you were. You know, so he's not going to be able to reap the same benefits as the Roots being on Jimmy Fallon. They can drop something tomorrow. Some people are going to rock with it regardless. And they're looking at them every single night.
Yeah.
Redman's gonna have to work a little bit harder. He's going to have to tour his album. Like, I was excited for Muddy Waters too, but I can't say that it lived up to the same hype as the first one. But with a tour, maybe I might have rocked with it a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, that and what you just said was what I was going to say. The difference is between the two of them and why they are able to continue to be successful. Redman never stopped touring.
Yeah.
He was always on the road. He was always in people's face, giving them something. You know what I mean? Even if it was the old stuff. Yeah.
He was doing cameos for a while. Like, he drops videos on YouTube all the time, just him rapping.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Redman never quit. He was always in your face. The Roots, they are always in your face every night. You know what I mean? So if Black Thought, when he drops he's always fresh on your mind. You don't get an opportunity to forget about him because you see him every night on Jimmy Fallon. So if he drops a new project, let me go check out this new Black Thought project.
Yeah.
You can't be
stagnant.
Yeah, you can't be stagnant anymore in today's economy, man. When it comes to music, you got to have something to give the people. If you gone for more than 3 months, you easy to be forgotten about.
Yeah. I think that's to me, that's really it's just, you have to be in people's faces. It's not necessarily that Rakim or Big Daddy Kane have lost a step as far as being MCs. It's just that they're not in our faces like that. Nah. Same with like an Eric Sermon. Same with, they're still dropping good stuff. It's why we still talk about Nas, because he still drops albums.
Well, the thing is, they took long periods of time,
very long,
you know what I mean, where you didn't hear anything from him. Like, Kane is on the road now.
Yeah,
Kane just put out a record with the RZA.
Yeah,
yep.
But the thing is, he took
with
so
long
of
video.
a gap.
Yeah,
he took so long of a gap that it's like you got to build that back up. You know what I mean? So like, you see Kane on Club Shay Shay. You know what I mean? And that would have been a perfect time to drop a project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because people are talking about you.
Yeah, I think momentum is a very important piece, not only in the music industry, but also life. But anyways, Jay, what do you think?
No, I think one of the things that made this conversation interesting, because I've watched little bits and pieces of the rest of it, is when Redman said, okay, I did 70 million streams and the money was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand the difference between Redman and Black Thought. First of all, Black Thought was in a group. Okay, so when he'd see his record sales and it was split up between all these people, of course, you better get out there and tour. You better sell some T-shirts. You better get on and sell some merch. Redman has gold and platinum plaques as a solo artist. So he has a whole different perspective as far as what this is supposed to look like. Now, where we are now in the streaming era, Redman, he does understand that you got to get out on this road. You got to have T-shirts because, okay, no one's coming to buy my $12.99 CD anymore.
But that's been $20 on a T-shirt.
$20 if you're lucky.
40. Yeah, you're right.
If you're lucky. But we saw this firsthand when we went to go see Little Brother in Chicago.
They actually had reasonable prices on their shirts.
Except for their hats.
Yeah, the hat was stupid.
The hats were $65. I was like, whoa.
But
fitted?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're fitted.
But you know that those LOX hats, those are going for $200.
Yeah, that's
what?
wild.
Yes.
Like them Treated Crew hats was done
like
too.
$200.
Yeah. And so I think one of the things that why rappers are eating now, it has nothing to do with the record sales. They don't, they realize that is, some of them I think I don't want to say they've given up. They want to put out the music and have people enjoy it, engage with it, but they know there's no money coming there.
Yeah, that's just a vehicle.
So they got hard, so if they know, if they are lucky enough to be able to sell hard tickets, get out and sell $60 hats and $30 T-shirts, they're not worried about the little pennies and half and hay pennies that they're getting from these streaming services.
I feel like it's always been like that, though. I feel like a lot of these artists have always particularly ate off of the tour itself. So when you add streaming into it, it's like you damn near have to tour the album. Like, I think Muddy Waters 2 had been promised for at least 5 years before it came out.
I think
I'm being generous.
Yeah, you are.
You know what I'm saying? And when it finally came out, it's one of those situations where you lose interest in it But if Redman, like y'all talk about how he tours, I've only ever seen Redman accompanied by Method Man. I've never seen Redman by himself.
Yeah.
Now, if he had done a tour with this album to his fan base, I think it might have fared better monetarily. But I don't think the streams is ever going to change.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think another piece to that, and then I'll pose another question, is, the difference between now and then, to your point, it is very similar because back then you had labels as the middlemen that would take a high percentage of the artist royalty.
Yeah.
So even if you're selling a CD for $10, $15, you're really only recouping a small percentage of that anyways. Now, if you're doing it independent, now the tech companies are essentially that middleman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And recouping that. But that brings up kind of the second question here, which is how do you think an artist should present themselves moving forward? Should they focus on selling their art or should they focus on selling their brand that leads to their art? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about because, streaming, Jay was kind of hinting on this. What I tell students and young producers and stuff and young musicians is music platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, all these things, they are marketing tools.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stand on principle and not have your music on these platforms because they're ripping you off, I can understand that. But realistically, if you look at these platforms as marketing tools as opposed to something that's supposed to pay me for my thing,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe you can look at it a little bit differently. So $70,000 in streams, to me, that's supplemental, or 70 million streams. That's supplemental income based upon what he should be doing. Sure, touring, but I think more so direct to consumer. Whatever your direct to consumer thing is, whether that's selling merch on a tour, that's where you're going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
The Roots are going to make far less money on tour individually than somebody like Redman and Method Man would, because there's so many different hands to split up. But it's really the merch. It's really like the things that you can upsell for such a high amount of, it's like we as a podcast, we can make money, supplemental money off of income and views, but we're going to make money if we have a whole bunch of stuff for people to come over to cop and that want to support us that they can put on their body and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So,
and that marketing.
Yeah. And it's marketing in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think it's different ways to kind of look at it. Do you guys have any other thoughts on that?
No,
I think that's just a way of all art, period. Like you go to a comedy show,
boom,
the comedian is on stage telling you, after I get up done with my set, I'm be in the back taking pictures. I got merch. I got whatever. You know what I'm saying? People tend to have to rely on that extra tangible item in order to make their income mean or take it to the next level. I don't think it's never going to be streaming right now.
The tangible item is the show.
That's the show.
Yeah.
Artists need NIL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the NIL is that tangible item or whenever somebody sponsors this particular artist, because they're getting WNBA money from these streams.
Yeah. And the music in itself is realistically, it's the basis of it all, but it's not what's selling. And art isn't supposed to be business selling like that anyways. It's supposed to be art. So it's all about how you can flip that art into some sort of
That's why the bigger artists, every time they release an album, as soon as that album is released, a tour is announced. Because this is where I'm going to make my money.
Sure.
If Beyonce drops an album, you already know she's coming to see you.
Yep.
If Kendrick drops an album, you know he's coming to see you.
Yep.
If Drake drops an album, you know he's coming to see you. It's built into their business
plan. Yep.
Their business plan.
Yep.
So it's not about how many records am I going to sell because people aren't buying records. They're streaming everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So in order for me to get this money for real and make a living or exceeding living off of this, I have to go on tour whether I want to or not.
That's why Beyonce tickets are $400 or $500.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
400 or 500.
Yeah.
Governator will tell you how much are they.
He said,
no, but the thing
give
is,
you an idea.
when we talk about Beyonce, Redman, even when we're talking about Redman and Black Thought, and then we talk about newer artists, Playboy Cardi, like my godson just went to go see him last night. Right now, he's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
what the struggle is if you are somebody who has a hit record, that doesn't automatically make you a brand.
No.
You know, there has to be a certain already community built around your music. There has to be, that's why there's so many people who are on the radio right now and have songs in a heavy rotation that can't sell a t-shirt, can't sell a hard ticket because they don't actually have a brand. They've created a vibe for somebody. They've created a situation for themselves where like, okay, I'm famous, but I'm definitely not rich because I can't sell anything to anybody. People are streaming my music, but they're not in a position to where I'm not in a position to where I can put on even a half-hour show.
Yeah, they made a song for a playlist.
Yeah, so I think that's the struggle with newer artists is what do I have to do to become a brand and create community to where people will invest in me to where, okay, I can put out these songs. That's great. That maintains my relevance, if you will. But what's going to maintain me just as a human being is being able to sell you tickets, sell my hard copies of my CD or even my vinyl at a show, or sell you a t-shirt so you can say, I went to the Playboy Cardi show.
Yeah.
And people will know and they'll ask me about it. And then I can spread the word about Playboy Cardi.
You have to invite people. I say this all the time. Jack's probably heard me say this a bazillion times. You have to be active in other people's lives. Like you have to be an active character in other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to allow people to be active characters in your life as well. And so you do that by merch and by stuff that people can hold on to and things of this nature. So yeah, I'm a big fan of
and just because you have a hit song or you're out here on TV a little bit and you're at the award show, sitting in the front row, that doesn't automatically make you a brand. It makes you famous. What really makes you a brand and makes you an integral part of people's lives is when you're first starting out, you're signing CDs, you're shaking hands, you're going to the places where your fans actually are. I think there are a lot of artists who feel like, okay, I'm on now and I can automatically receive the superstar treatment. And you got to realize that like you're still in a place to where if song number 2 comes out and people have no reaction to it, your career is essentially over.
Yeah.
You have to be in a position to where people are going to be like, no, that's my guy. And it's hard and it's a lot more work than a lot of artists are willing to do. That's why we see so many people who are here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors at the end of the day because it's easy to put you on a plane and have you go perform somewhere and you look and get to enjoy the benefits of being around these people, but it's not paying you monetarily. It's just you're being seen. You're not making any money off this shit.
Yeah.
I remember there are artists I've seen. Look, I mean, when you think about the fact that at one point, there was an opportunity to book Kendrick Lamar at the Jazz Kitchen.
Yeah.
Or I remember Wiz Khalifa used to be at like the living room.
Sure.
Wale was here and his reps came in the coaches after he performed and was handing out stickers. And we didn't even know Wale was in town.
It was this when he played in Castleton? It was like a show in Castleton.
Yes, it was something weird and obscure.
Yeah. I remember that.
Was it like the Music Mill or something?
I can't
even remember.
There's some random place in Castleton.
Music Mill, man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I think that's what it is because we prop people up to automatically be superstars and because they're hot for just that 15 minutes. And it's so hard to maintain that, especially if the artist believes his own hype and doesn't understand is like, no, you better, there aren't what they used to call in-stores where people would show up. I mean, Jay-Z was still doing in-stores up until, what was it? Hard Knock Life. It was still a thing where I got to get out here and be close to the people and shake hands and sign autographs. It wasn't a thing. I can't just come to your city, sit up in my hotel room and then go to the show and then get in my limo and go back to the hotel and go to the next city. Like if you have that mentality, that's why you're not on anymore or not even at a place where people can see you as a legacy artist. I remember it was in a way it was kind of funny, but at the same time I understand and I appreciate it. It was like maybe 12, 13 years ago. It was during Black Expo. And of course, there's no record stores at the time. And Drew Hill came to a Walgreens.
I remember that.
And they came and signed pictures and signed CDs and took pictures with everybody. And these are artists. This is a group that has sold several million records at this point, but they're in grind mode once again. And You know, if those people are the people who buy your tickets and your hard tickets, even if you don't have a new song out, they'll come hear you sing their favorite songs from your first couple albums. And that's how you maintain yourself as an artist.
Hey, man, make sure you guys, if you're artists out there and you're watching this and you tour, check out Indie City and Vinyl. They got a brand new space called the 808, and they can do in-stores. So,
there you go.
So when you drop that new record, why don't you call them up and be like, hey, we can come and do a record signing, do a performance for the people, and you can get back out here and touch hands and
you can put some
touch
merch
babies
in
and
there.
kiss hands.
Yeah.
And
touch babies, kiss hands.
And that, folks, is product placement.
Hey.
And that is how you build a brand.
I have on a nice Indie CD and Vinyl t-shirt right now. They're one of our wonderful sponsors.
Yep. We got these as well. Come see them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.